it's not just that Frankie Montas or Sean and I are out. That's not what I want to focus on. It is true that they're out. They got obliques, they got lat strains. They're going to miss weeks, they're going to miss months. The depth is being tested. You've got players telling you, oh, I was in good shape, and then this just happened. That's what Manaea said. Remember, Manaea got 3 years, 75 million. Montas got 2 years, 34 million. I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what you do as a front office when you get an FI. An FI is a February injury. You've got all of the MIs, we would call them. You get March injuries, April, May, June, July, August. Different strategy. The FI is when you get to spring training and either someone fails your physical, or during the physical, you find out that, oh, they've got a tweaked hamstring, they've got a situation with their elbow or shoulder. An FI is when a position player gets hurt during any of the pre-spring training games, early spring training games when pitchers are pitching 1.0, sometimes 2.0 innings. Position players are getting 1 or 2 at-bats and then are taken out of the game. We still have 3 more days of FIs to come. And the reason why it mattered is that we didn't want to test our depth chart in F. You spend your entire offseason putting together your team. You have a depth chart at every position. You've got your bench. You've got your team put together. You then meet the media. You meet the players during spring training, and you say, this is a competitive spring training. You're going to fight for a job and all of that nonsense. I was talking to Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker on their great show yesterday, and we were talking that Kevin Barker was always upset. I feel like I went into spring training, I didn't have a chance, even though they told me I had a chance. Very rarely do players, quote unquote, win a job in spring training, but you need everybody. You have a talk with the players. We're going to need you at some point this season, you say to the players. Stay sharp. You never know. You don't set your opening day roster until the very last second in case someone wakes up with a little crick in their neck or a little tweak in their hammy. You don't add anyone to the roster, any of your non-roster invitees. We'll talk about that as the season starts here next month. But you go through spring training and you are simply trying to get through spring training healthy. It's what the front office says. Let's just get through it healthy. And during the offseason, when you're putting your board together and you have the depth of your position players in the bench, you also have a pitching SP and then BP. Some people say RP, relief pitcher. Some boards say BP, bullpen. I was always an RP, relief pitchers, SP, starting pitchers. Our number was always 14. We need 14 starters. I don't know when we're going to need them, but we need that depth to get through the season. Of course, the owner would always say this could be the year where we only need 5 starters and they'll all take their turn, 30-plus starts. And I would say it's true, and I may wake up at 6'4" tomorrow. So you keep a list, and as pitchers get injured throughout the season or lack of performance, then you go to the next guy on the depth chart, and then you understand whether on the depth chart which of the guys have to be added to the roster from AAA or AA, which are already on the roster down in the minor leagues so they can be brought back more easily without making changes to your roster. So you have everything set. Then what happens is you get the FI. And what you say to yourself is, if we do get that, we don't want to go to the depth that early. However, we got to go public, and we have to have our GM out there and our manager doing exactly what the Mets are doing right now. Carlos Mendoza said, we've been talking about our depth, and here we are getting tested. The way I see it, guys will get opportunities. We still feel really good with what we have internally. Their rotation, Senga, Clay Holmes, David Peterson, and then two of Paul Blackburn, Griffin Canning, and Tyler McGill. Keeping in mind that Clay Holmes hasn't been a starter in 6 years. He's their RP from the NYY, LY relief pitcher from the New York Yankees last year. I'm in a very big initial mood today, so you're going to have to stay with me. You've got this. Stay focused. Are you buying that? Think Steve Cohn, after his comments, yeah, I'm not really comfortable where we're spending, but hey, we want to win. So I guess I got to spend to win. Their payroll is already over $300 million, and they're going into a season with that. Frankly, even before those two got injured, that's a dicey starting rotation. But that said, two of your, I would argue, top three starters by a lot, even though they're spreading the hilarity of, Clay Holmes as a starter. You don't realize what a sneaky great signing that is. AJ Puke. It's AJ Puck, by the way. If you know, you know. He was the Marlins bullpen guy who they made a starter, and he was a terrible starter. Then they brought him back to being a reliever, and then they got something for him at the deadline because it's really hard to be a starter. Although these days, maybe you can make any RP and SP and just have him go 1.0 or 2.0. We have him as an opener. It is very unlikely to me that the Mets will go into the season as they are, even though what they're saying to you is, I'm not that worried. Minaya is only going to be gone for a bit. He won't throw for 2 to 3 weeks, after which, this is always a good one, he'll start his spring progression. So spring progression, let's do the math. 1.0, wait 5 days. 2.0, wait 5 days. We're now at 10. 2.0, wait 5 days. We're at 15. 3.0, we're now at 20. 4.0, we're at 25. 5.0, we are at 30. Our rule was, if you're not ready to go 9 by your first start, then we did not properly ramp you up during spring training. Managers that I had love that. We love that as a front office back when we wanted bulk from our starters, when we cared about bulk. Maybe the spring training progression these days, you don't even need anything. Shohei Ohtani, they said, isn't even going to have a rehab start after Tommy John. He's just going to come up and pitch. That's not really being a starting pitcher if you do that. So maybe that's it.